The time that everyone has been waiting for is finally here. We are styling this beaded top. I know everyone was wondering what bottom I'm gonna wear with this top. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it might be a little bit disappointing because I wanna keep it very simple so that all of the attention is here. Also, before I start getting ready, look at how well my nails match my top. Honestly, you guys, I still cannot believe I finished this damn top. I literally started it, what? The day before Coachella, and I was completely losing all faith in myself, but somehow I pulled it off. So to everyone who didn't believe in me, screw you. But also, I did not completely believe in myself either, so I don't blame you. Also, this top was by far my hardest DIY that I've ever done. Do I plan to do it again? Yes, but also I'm gonna give myself a lot more time next time. I have to say the satisfaction of making your own clothes is truly like no other, because I'm gonna be going to Coachella and nobody is gonna be wearing a top that looks like this. Plus, I'm also really looking forward to when people ask me where I got my top from, and I can say I made it myself. I am, however, extremely nervous that this top might just break, even though I did super glue it. So I'm gonna be bringing a backup top just in case, because if the worst does happen, at least I will be prepared. Oh, also, look at this freaking bag I got. It even has the little danglies to match. I've officially come to the conclusion that spending 40 hours of my time was definitely worth it. I hope that this outfit did this top justice, because I would be really sad if you guys felt like I didn't. And please wish me lots of luck so that my top doesn't break on me. Do you guys remember when I made these? Well, apparently I have a reputation now for being able to turn anything into an outfit. So when Milk Makeup decided to slide in my DM saying that they didn't think I could turn their concealer into an outfit, well, I decided that today I'd be proving them wrong. The plan was to make a top that looked something like this, which meant the first thing I had to figure out was how I was gonna attach all of the concealers together. And after a bit of thinking, I came up with the genius idea of using a mini drill. You see, in order to string them together, I essentially had to turn each one into a pendant. So I started by drilling 4 holes into the top and looped 1 jump ring onto each side. But then the next step is where I made a huge mistake. Instead of drilling holes into the bottom, I decided to take the lazy way out and hot glue the jump rings on. Anyways, before I realized my grave mistake, I calculated that I would need around 40 concealer pendants. So I repeated this process until I had enough and started working on the top. First, I attached the top row of concealers onto the chain, and then the second row, and then the third. And maybe it was because I just pulled off one of my hardest DIYs ever, but I was feeling extremely confident, maybe even a little cocky, that I was going to be able to easily finish this. Well, that was until the top started falling apart. Remember when I hot glued the bottom? Turns out that was a horrible idea because it wasn't strong enough, which caused the jump rings to detach. I was freaking out. So I decided to fix it with some hot glue. And guess what? It still didn't work. This concealer top was a complete and utter failure, and I was at a total loss. But I couldn't let my DIY reputation get tarnished. So I guess that means we're going back to the drawing board and redoing the entire thing tomorrow. There's literally a guy following us right now. 他在跟着我们吗?
Yeah. I'm so uncomfortable. Is he still?
Yep. This is why I literally hate men. Yeah, let's go somewhere. We're currently hiding in a juice bar because the guy is waiting outside for us. It's been like at least 5 minutes and he's just still there. One of the employees just went outside because I think he's checking for us to see the situation, but we're currently just like sitting inside because he's still waiting for us. Okay, so we just left. The employee actually did like a full scout of the area for us to make sure that that guy wasn't there. So huge shout out to Juice Generation. Like literally the best employees, 10 out of 10. Today we're gonna be trying on my Sabrina Carpenter rhinestone bodysuit that I managed to finish in just 3 days. I cannot tell you guys how stressed out I was while doing this project. This was by far the hardest DIY project that I've ever done. But I'm so excited to wear her to the concert tonight, so let's get ready first. And for today's makeup look, I'm going for the classic Sabrina Carpenter makeup style. I gotta make sure that this base will stay on the entire concert, so we need to prep our face accordingly. So I'm gonna go a little more heavy-handed with the makeup than usual. I feel like the most important part about a Sabrina Carpenter makeup look is staying very glowy, and this is perfect for that. I got my makeup professionally done for the first time recently, and according to her, I'm supposed to be doing my eyeshadow first, which I had no idea that I was supposed to be doing my entire life. We have the base down, now I'm gonna add a little bit of blush. Sabrina Carpenter always goes heavy on the blush. Also, the more I do these makeup videos, the more that I am impressed with the makeup girlies. Because doing your makeup and talking at the same time is probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. Time for the most important part of this look, blush. And we're gonna be adding lots of it. Also, I'm very curious to know if you guys actually thought that I was going to finish this DIY or not, because I definitely lost all hope midway through. Last step are my lips, and I'm not gonna talk while doing this. I think this might be my new go-to lip combo. Final step for the makeup. Last step of this look, we need big blowout curls. So I'm gonna be putting in this texture spray to give it a little bit more volume. And of course, lots of hairspray to lock everything into place. We are finally all ready, so go to part 2 to see me try it on. I got scammed. This is what the costume was supposed to look like, and this is what I got. Yeah, it's horrible. So to take matters into my own hands, I decided to make my costume myself instead. However, while doing so, I stepped on a plug that pierced right through my foot and landed myself in the ER. Before that though, I did manage to finish half of the costume, so today I will be attempting to finish the rest of the costume, even with an injured foot. Having already completed the skirt, it was time to tackle the more difficult portion of the costume, the top. I started by making the shoulder pads first because I was not about to wear a costume that had them literally printed on. As complicated as they looked, these were actually pretty easy to make. I layered felt shoulder pads, glued on this gold trim, as well as these gold studs, and voila, they were done. Next, I moved on to arguably the hardest part of the costume, the gold detailing. I had to be extremely accurate with where I glued this down because it was kind of the main part of the costume. So with my glue gun in hand, I painstakingly tried to match it to Zoe's original top. However, since I was mostly standing for this part, my foot started to hurt a little, which makes sense because there was a literal hole in it. At this point, I was debating on resting, but decided to push through the pain because I was leaving to go to LA tomorrow and wouldn't have enough time to finish this costume once I got back. And finally, for the last step, I cut out a diamond-shaped hole in the neckline and lined it with gold trim. And that was it. I was all done. Or so I thought. Because the longer I stared at my costume, the more I hated it. After getting injured, my heart just wasn't in this DIY. And it clearly showed because this costume kind of sucked. And as much as I would have loved to conclude this video with a happy ending, I think I'll have to end it on a sad one because I think this might be the first time where I'm going to be giving up.